Okay, now that we know a little bit about music theory fundamentals, let's transfer that knowledge from the piano keyboard to the guitar fretboard. A lot of these principles are very easy to understand once we have that foundational knowledge. So we talked about adjacent keys being half steps in a scale. Adjacent frets are half steps. We talked about 2 half steps equaling a whole step. All of that still applies here. We're not changing the rules of theory. We're just trying to understand the fretboard in terms of our basic knowledge. So we also talked about the interval of the notes in a major melodic scale. So let's use the low E string, the 6th string here, and play whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. And you can hear it's exactly the same scale. We just preserved the interval and we applied it to the fretboard. We ended up from E to E at the 12th fret here. The other cool thing about the guitar fretboard that's easy to understand is the fret markers, 3, 5, and 7. G, A, B. Memorize that, okay? G, A, B. You also know that this is an E string and that E and F are right next to each other, half step apart. So we know that first fret is an F. We also know, G, A, B, that B and C are a half step apart. So we know where a C is. And then we know this is an octave, so this is an E. And then a half step down, sorry, a whole step down, 2 half steps down from E is a D. So we can find our way to any note by remembering these markers. Okay, we also talked about the degrees of the scale and how we build chords. So we build a major chord by using 1, 3, and 5 of the scale. So here on the fretboard, what we're going to do is we're going to put our index finger at the 1st fret of the 3rd string. We're going to put our middle finger, let's go ring finger here on the 2nd fret of the 4th string, and then the middle finger on the 2nd fret of the 5th string. And we have an E major scale. What we're playing here is root 5, root 3, 5. And then of course the high E is an octave. So we also remembered how to build a minor chord is to flatten the 3rd. So the index finger in this chord was the 3rd. We're going to lift the index finger and we get a minor chord. Okay, so major the way we first built it, and lift your index finger, you've got a minor. Okay, what's happening here in this first position is that the nut is setting the pitch of the open strings. So we can build this same shape all up and down the neck, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to keep this same shape, but we're going to switch our fingers. So I use middle, ring, and pinky instead of index, middle, ring, right? So we're switching this here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to slide up a half a step, and then our index finger has to bar that 1st fret, but it gives us an F major chord. And if we lift our middle finger, we get an F minor. And then remember, so if this is an E with E in the bass, this is an F with F in the bass, and we know where G, A, B, C, D, E, this is a G, right? Because this is where the bass note is. This is a G minor, G major, G minor. 2 other bonus shapes are, from the major shape, lift your ring finger and you get a E dominant 7. Really bluesy sounding. And if you're just playing the minor and you want a minor 7, lift your ring finger. So same thing applies. We can do that anywhere. We can play a G major and lift our pinky and get a G dominant 7. Or we can play a G minor, lift our pinky and get a G minor 7. Okay? So we can play every single chord in the scale. Day 1, we're ready. We're ready to go gig, right? Hit me with questions if you have questions about this. Rewatch the video maybe. But the work comes in getting that index finger to bar and get all of your strings to ring out cleanly. All right, next video we're going to talk about how we do this same concept with the bass note on the 5th string and using the A shape.